Greetings everyone, I'm Rishabh Sirivanchi, your instructor for software development with C++ programming. I welcome you all for Bagcampus PowerCamp 2021. Today we are going to learn about with chapter 1 in which we are going to learn about C++ OOP concepts. We are going to learn about how we write a hello world program in C++. Then we are going to learn about what are the functions and classes in C++. Then we are going to learn about various data types in programming. What are the arrays and pointer in C++? Then we are going to learn about what are the object-oriented programming concepts in C++. What is encapsulation, what is polymorphism, and other concepts. Hope so you have visited powercamp.backcampus.in and have checked out with our today's agenda and what are the today's session details, right? So you can visit a powercamp.backcampus.in to apply and go with various sessions and keep connected with us, right? So now I'm going to move with the simple IDE which I have used. So I'm using a simple IDE from CodeChef. It is an unacademy educational initiative in which we basically perform various programming practices, right? We are going to use CodeChef IDE to code, compile, and run about our C++ program. Before we move to this program, I would like to make sure to you that you install Visual Studio Code because it is not possible for you to go with the online code editor once again and again. But you can visit up to code.visualstudio.com/download to download the Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a free and open source application and code editor which will help you to code any programming language in a better way. You can check out how we can start coding C++ in Visual Studio Code using Bing GW server. So you can check it on internet servers as well as we will try to put it on powercamp.backcampus.com. So let's learn about what is C++ code syntax. So here when I refreshed the or visited the website, I received some code like this. So what this code is. So I will firstly delete up this code and I will show you what is here. So we use hash include, right? We use hash include to import a special library and I am going to use IOStream. So what IOStream is? IOStream stand for input output stream and we are using IOStream as a one of a basic C++ syntax increment, right? Then what we are going to do is we are going to use a special concept like using namespace and STD. Okay, so I'm going to use it here. So I will also show you what if we will not write this. Later on, if we are working on C++ or Python, sorry, not Python, C++ or Java, such a programming language, we know to know that the programming basically start from a main function. So I'm declaring a main function which is going to return currently 0. Okay. Hope so you understand this concept and how I wrote this code. Now we have invested over 4 minutes and I think we should move to write a hello world program in C++. So there is something called as a C out in a C++ which will help us to print things on our application. So I'm going to use hello world and I'm going to use it. So I'll click on the run button to check the output as a hello world. Hope so you understand how we go through it. Now, if I will not write this using namespace std, what I have to do is that I have to write the standard thing, right? Just here you can check the standard. So I have to check write this again and again. If now I will not write this standard here, it will be fine. So I will fastly move this and I will just go with C out and I will move with hello world and I will run this to check the output as a hello. If I will not write this using namespace std, I have to write std again and again. So to avoid that, we usually describe it here that it is using standard namespace. Hope so you understand this concept. So let's learn what are the input and output in C++, right? So you learned about how we write a C out program and how we describe the output. Now, if I have to go with a CIN, when CIN, then it will help me to get a input. So make sure you give such a arrows when you are using cin, then describe whatever variable you want to use. Before taking a variable x here, I would like to describe you how we declare variable in C++. So here I just describe integer int and then x to take out integer x here. Then what I will do is I will take a output of this x, right? So I'll firstly give a custom input of 12. Click on a run to get a output as a 12, right? Hope so you understand what I'm going to teach you. I have just described you what are the include IO stream, why we use using namespace std, what is this main function. Basically the programming in C++ start with the main function only. Then I describe you what is a C input, how we declare a variable, how we take input, how we take outputs, right? Hope so you understand these concepts properly because these are very basic concepts and I'm trying to share with you from very basic. If you don't understand, you can use our comment section, or live chat section to put your questions, right? Now the question is, if I have to output as a given input is, now how I can just put the integer up here. So you have to just give this type of comma and you have to put whatever variable you have to print, right? So I'm giving a custom input of 12. I click on run button and you can check that given input as 12. Now if I want this 12 to be printed in next line, how I can do that? So there are two methods by which we can use a C out up here. So the first method is by using /n. So I will click on run. So you can, oops, sorry, I gave the wrong slash. The slash is this one. Okay, you have to use this /n. I'll click on run. Sorry for that. And you can see that given input as 12. Another method is using endl, but you have to use it at the end of C out program only. So what I will do is I will just move with endl and then I will give another C out program which will take print x. Okay, so let's check it now. Hope so you understand how we are going to use, we are using this, and you can check that given input as 12. It is coming in new line. So there is another thing which is the most important in the programming. So as we are moving as per the programming concept, so there should be commenting part, which is a more important part. How we declare a comment. So for a single line comment, we use slash 2 times, and we can just put whatever we have done here, right? So also, if I have something which I don't have to use, I can just put a comment and it will not come in use, right? So for that we use this thing. But if I have to comment it properly, so means multi-line comment is there, so we can just put it here and here to have a multi-line comment. So what comment is used for? So comment basically used for to describe what is there in a code. For example, I describe here we declare a variable, right? Then we can also use comment to hide whatever unused code we have, right? So if we will just click on run, it will not get initialized, right? We just show that there is the input only. There's no output. So understand what are the comments in C++. Our next topic which we have to discuss is what we call as operators in our programming language, right? So in C++, we have various operators. Firstly, learn about what are the arithmetic operators. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an integer. Just I showed you. So there is an integer x whose value is 10. Then I have integer y whose value is 20. So what I want is a integer z who is sum of this two. So I will just put x plus y and I will just try to see out this. So let's try and run this code. I don't have to give any custom input here. So we get the output as a 30. What if I have to take an input from user to show the output? So I will just declare x and y firstly. So I'll declare x and y here. Then I will take a cin function which will take x, and I will declare cin function once again which will take y, right? And I will try to put the addition of those two numbers. Here I'm using 10, 20. Let's try and run this code. So here it comes some error. So as I told you, this variable I have made some mistake up here. Basically, you have to practice it more to avoid this. But when you are starting from very basic, this thing happens, right? So 30 is the answer. Hope you understand how we take input, how we take output, right? So let's move to our next point of arithmetic operators, in which we are going to learn now the subtraction. So x minus y in place of x minus y, I would, okay, x minus y is good. So I'll try to x minus y. And 10 minus 20, the answer is minus 10. I have to go with the multiplication now. So the answer should be 200, right? So the answer is 200. So now I have to check whether these two numbers are equal or not. And I am putting 10 and 20. I'll click on run. So what it gives output, let's check. So for that you have to give this double equal, okay? So I receive output as a 0. Okay, but I will try to give 10 comma 10, and I'll click on run. So I receive output as a 1. So you hope so you understand that this is a 1 means true and 0 means false. So in place of integer, if I will take it as a boolean value, so it will receive a true or false, right? So let me show you this. I used a BOOL boolean value, so I receive 1 only. So hope so you understand how we use various types of arithmetic operators. We just use equal to, additional, subtraction, multiplication. In a similar way, we can use division, we can use modulus, we can use increment, decrement. If you don't know about these operators, you can visit up our JavaScript session, in which I have taught this in very depth, means how we have to use operators, right? Then our basic thing which we have to learn as a conditional statement. So basically, we have to use whether we these are less than, equal to, or less than, greater than, greater than. If these things are equal or not equal, we have to use specific block of code, right? For example, I have to use if these twos are equal, then I have to print that these two are equal. So how I can do that? You can do that with the use of conditional statements, right? So conditional statement, there are few types of conditional statement, like if loop, if else conditions, if condition, if else condition, and switch condition. So let's learn these now. So I will just try to use if loop. So I'm using if x equal to y, then, sorry for this, then I have to put that cout your input, then I want to use these two inputs, x space and then and space, and then y are equal. I have to give a space here also. So let's check whether this code works or not. So 10 and 10 are given these two inputs. I have to check here. Should get a output as a your input. 10 and 10 are equal. So oops, I have missed a semicolon. So these are some of the important things. So I receive this, your input 10 and 10 are equal. What if these two inputs are not wrong? So I will just go with else loop. Okay, so else, and I will copy this, paste it here. Your inputs are not equal. Then I'll give one input as 11, and let's check 10 and 11s are equal or not according to this. So I receive the output as a your input 10 and 11 are not equal. So you understand how we use if else loop, right? In a similar way, you can learn how we use if else loop and switch loop by just visiting our JavaScript session. If you are watching it later, I will try to put it in I button so you can check it there, right? So JavaScript session, you can check there. So we have described it very well about that. No, but I have to teach you about what is a switch statement, right? So let me show you switch statement. So I will delete this part of code now. Okay, I will delete this type of code. I will comment this. Okay, I will remove this now. So what I am going to do is I am going to use a switch statement in which I am giving if x is whatever input you have given in x, right? So you give this type of thing, and then I have to make case if you give the output as a 1, then I have to see out you enter 1. Okay, so I'm going just to teach you about what is this. So I will try to run this code now. So is there any problem? No, because I have given 10 and 11 as a input, right? So case 1 it falls. So what I will do is I will run case for 10. Okay, I will give a C out that you enter 10. Okay, so let's run this. What if these two are not running properly? Then oops, I forgot to give a semicolon. So you enter 10, we get this, right? If these conditions satisfy, we have to use a break statement. Okay. And what are the break and continue statement? I have taught it very well in our previous JavaScript session, so you can check it there. So what if all condition does not satisfy? We have to see out no conditions satisfy. So let's check running this code. Basically 10 is going to run properly, right? Oops. I am making the same mistakes again and again. Try to give some other input like 20. Okay, and run. I'll receive no conditions satisfied. You understand how we go with the switch statement now. Now I'm going to teach you what is a while loop. What are the looping statement? What is while loop? What is a do while loop, right? So let me show you if we have to print the variables in between 0 to 10, how we are going to do that. So okay, I will try to show you this properly here. So for that I'm using a while loop. Okay, so simply while, and I'm giving something. I'm declaring an integer I firstly, in which I am giving 0. So I have to print from 0. Then I'm giving while I is less than 10. What I have to do is see out I. This will work properly to print me the digit of I. Okay, so I don't require an input here. Still I gave an input. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Till 9 I receive this. If I will give less than equal to, these are operators in JavaScript basically, if you are a very beginner. So you can see that we receive from 0 to 10, right? Then what is while loop? You understand, hope so. If you have any questions, you can just use a live chat section. I'm checking it again and again. I have not received any question till now. So if there is a question of you can put in the chat. Okay. So there is another thing called as a do while loop. What is do while loop? Let me show you that one. So I have to do what we have to do now. We have to, oops, sorry, see out what we have to see out. I, and we have to make it increment. I missed a semicolon here. Until I is equal to 5. Until I is equal to 5, we have to make it. Okay, I'm making it less than 5. Then click on run. So I missed the semicolon again. So I receive 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as a output. So here how we make the do while loop. So if I will post a handle here, then it will help me to print in one row one, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Understand these things. So we used while loop, do while loop, we used various types of if loop firstly we used, right? So now we have to learn about what are the arrays in C++. So basically arrays are used to store the multiple values in single variable instead of declaring separate variable for each. Basically, but they are of a same type. Okay, so you can make an array of only string, only int. Okay, you cannot make a mixture of string and int. You can make it in few of a programming language, but it is not allowed in C++. So we are going to make a simple array of string and we are going to use it to print it. So array is one of a basic concept which we are going to use in our coming up session. So I have to show it here. So I'm using a string who have simply cars used in that, and there are 4 variables in it. Now the first variable I want is a car 1. Then I have second variable which I want as a car 2. I want third one is as a car 3. Then there's fourth one which is car 4. Okay. So I will teach you what are the indexing in array as well as, don't worry about that. So now I have to print the third car. Okay. So if I have to print the third car, so how I will do that? So basically array indexing start from 0. So this one is for 0, this one is for 1, this one is for 2. So I want to print the car 2, right? So I will just go with cout and I will use car and I will give the index number 2. Let's try to run this code. I received some error. Okay, so what are these errors basically? Multi characters, constant. Okay, so I have to use a double colon in place of single colon here. And let's run it. So I receive output as a car 3. Okay. Now if I'm taking a input, I'm just applying all the basics. So CIN, which we use for taking an input, I'm taking an input and I will put in a variable called as x. And so before I use it, I have to declare a variable integer x. Before that, I will use a cout that enter which car to be shown. Now what I will do is I will use x and then I will give increment here and I will give a cout your car, then I'll use x. Okay, wherever I missed the semicolon, here I missed a semicolon. So I will run this code because to check the 20th car, which is not possible here. Is this so your car and then I have to give cars in which there is a x variable. I want to print the car number 2, so I will just give car 2. Oh, I made a mistake. I had to give decrement and I had to close this also. So you understand what I'm doing here, okay? You can make a note also. I'm moving very slow. So which enter which car you have to show, then it shows your car is car 2. So you understand this how we use this array. Now I have to show you what are the pointers, right? So pointers are basically those things which we use to express our positioning in system, right? So what I will do is I will star and print x. I'll run the code. So the pointer is what we use for memory addressing, right? So we can give and sign here to run this code. I think it will not work here in this. So let's check. So for my system, this gets stored at a 0x and whatever location has been given. Right. So this is a proper syntax of getting a pointer. So we covered up how we declare pointers. Now let's learn some OOP concepts in C++. So I will be back in 2 minutes. Please wait for it. So hello, we are back to our session. Let's learn how we create a class and how we declare an object. Okay. So basically you understand how we declare function. Now let's learn how we declare a class. For that, we have to just pass a variable class. Okay, class. Then I'm creating a class as a class one. Okay. And now you have to pass whatever use you want to use. So now I'm making it public. So basically there are three types of access specifiers: public, private, default, and protected, right? So these are the four types of I think the network go. So these are the four types of access variable. I will repeat them. The four types of access variables are public, default, protected, and private. Okay, so I'm using it in public. So what are these? You can check in our JavaScript session. I'm repeating this again and again. So I want to declare a integer which is number, and I want to declare a string name. Right? Now this is how we declare a class, right? So in place of class one, I can also use only one. Whatever class name you have to give, right? Now I want to comment this part. So what I'm going to use is multi-line comment. So I will use a multi-line comment to hide this part from of our running system, right? Now I have to just create a object which will use this. So I'll use any one which is the name of class, right? Then I will give object name. So I'm using my obj as an object name because you should understand this, right? Then in place of this num and name, I have to give my students data. So I want my obj dot num to be equal to roll number one, right? Then the name of that person is, for example, using a simple name RAM. Okay. Now I have to print this, so I can go with the C out, right? Can go with the C out to print this two data. Firstly, I would like to print the whatever num we have. So I'll click on run. Num is something. So at line number 8, I forgot to give semicolon. After declaring a class, you have to declare a semicolon. This you output as a 1 because this we just show that the num is 1. So in this way we can declare a class and object. And I put it here one my obj and I'll give two. So I'll give number 2 and I want name to be HAM and I can find my obj2 dot num. I should receive as the 1 and 2, right? So we received some output like this 21599, right? So yes, we will receive this type of output because I have not shown this properly. My obj dot name. Let's run it. So you can see 1 and 2 as a output, right? You see this. So we learned how we declare classes, how we declare objects, how we can create multiple objects, right? So now we have to learn about what are the constructors in Java. Sorry, constructors in C++. Sorry for using the name Java. Then for that, what I am going to do is I'm going to use the same one. So I'm using class 1. But what if I have to just give the name and roll number? So I will just go with num, comma, name. Okay. So what I will do is I will create third object, my obj get 3, So we basically use a special class in the class, which is called as a constructor. So I'll just try to use a name here, and I will use a one. Then I will go with my obj3, and we will just put the variable up here. Right? So basically, you have to give the thing that it is an integer and it is a string. Mention it here. Then there is a input 2 and okay, 3, and then I have the name as RAJ. Okay, so I'll give a semicolon up here. Now I would like to print the details about it. So let's also going to this. I will just go with C out here only. So I will just go with C out. Okay, okay. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use here. So in place of that, I will be using C out my obj3 dot num. So let's run. Let's see what output we get. So I received some error at line number 15. Okay, so let's see. Again receive some output at line number 9, 15. So by mistakenly, I have used word class here. I have to not use class here. Just use one. I'll run this. Okay, I receive a error. Want this as a primary. So make it. So this is how we make some error up here. And I click on run. Oops, I just missed that. Error used run public again. So now there's again some error at line number 9. Okay, I will use S here. Okay, think that will work. So names saying here nums and names. Let's run. Line number 19 again there is some error. So I will just try to comment this part now because we are firstly moving about what are the constructor. So I will just take it and comment. Let's run. And we receive some output which is not the correct. So you understand how we use constructor in C++. So let's make our move to ending our session now. Thank you for attending our session today. You tried this, you can watch this video again and again and check out with our session, right? So thank you for being part of the session. Thank you. Please make a note of today's assignment. So your today's assignment is to create a program for calculator in C++. Here it is today's assignment. Create a calculator program for C++.